On the crowded trading station orbiting a dying star, Daniel moved through the noisy streets after a long day of work, curious about the alien life around him, but also tired from the endless routine. Bright stalls shouted prices in dozens of languages. Strange smells of food filled the air, and travelers rushed past with no interest in anything but their own business. In one shadowed corner, Daniel noticed a frail alien sitting against a metal wall, its thin arms shaking, its eyes dim with hunger. The alien held a broken sign written in poor trade language, asking for help, but nobody stopped. They walked past as if it were invisible. Daniel hesitated for a moment, then reached into his pocket and found an old earth coin, nothing more than spare change, dull and worn from years of being forgotten. Without thinking too much, he placed the coin into the alien's hand. The alien froze, staring at the small round piece of metal as if it were something holy, its eyes suddenly wide with light. Daniel gave a small nod and walked away, never realizing that the worthless coin he gave so casually was about to change his place in the galaxy forever. The next day, the trading station felt different, as if the air itself carried a strange tension that Daniel could not explain. Merchants who once shouted prices now whispered to one another, their eyes darting nervously toward corners of the market. He heard fragments of talk while passing through the crowded halls, rumors of a relic, something thought to be lost since the ancient wars, something tied to a forgotten power. At first he dismissed it, thinking it was another story merchant spread to raise prices, but then the descriptions grew uncomfortably clear. They spoke of a small round object, forged of a rare alloy long consumed by the galaxy, and the more Daniel listened, the more his heart tightened, because he knew it sounded like the coin he had given away the night before. The frail alien he helped was nowhere to be found, vanished without trace, yet its absence only made the whispers grow stronger. Traders stared at Daniel longer than usual. Station guards seemed to linger near his path, and one merchant even asked casually if he carried the human relic. He laughed it off, but inside, unease grew heavy. He began to understand that the coin, worthless on Earth, was priceless out here. What unsettled him more was the speed of the rumor. It was as if the entire station had caught fire overnight, and every powerful group wanted to find the source. Daniel walked faster, keeping his head down, but a question burned in his mind. If one coin could spark this kind of storm, what would happen if the galaxy learned how many such coins still lay forgotten in drawers and pockets back on Earth? For the first time, Daniel wondered if his simple kindness had awakened something far larger than himself. Daniel quickly realized he was no longer walking the station alone. Shadows followed him wherever he went, and faces he had never seen before appeared again and again in the crowds. A merchant leaned close and whispered an offer of unimaginable wealth if he could bring more of the strange metal, while another warned him in hushed tones that powerful factions were already hunting for him. The words chilled Daniel, for he knew what they wanted, and he knew he had nothing more to give. He tried to blend into the flow of travelers, but the weight of watching eyes pressed on him at every turn. Then, in a deserted corridor, the frail alien he had helped suddenly appeared, no longer trembling or weak. Its posture was firm, its voice steady as it urged him to follow quickly before it was too late. Daniel hesitated, but the sound of heavy boots approaching pushed him forward. As they slipped into the dark maintenance tunnels, the alien revealed that Daniel had been marked, not only by station gangs, but by governments and guilds who saw the coin as the key to lost power. Humanity itself was now under their gaze, and Daniel's choices would decide what happened next. Hidden deep in the maintenance tunnels, away from the crowded markets and the eyes of patrolling guards, Daniel finally demanded answers. The alien, no longer weak but standing with quiet strength, studied him with unblinking eyes before speaking. It explained that the coin he had given so carelessly was not just a relic, but a fragment of a legendary alloy that once shaped the galaxy. Ages ago, before the rise of the current empires, civilizations had built machines and weapons powered by this material, strong enough to shift planets and carve through stars. Wars had been fought until every trace of it was consumed, leaving nothing but myths of its existence. The alien revealed that humanity, untouched by those ancient conflicts, had continued forging simple objects from the same metal, never realizing its rarity. Daniel felt his chest tighten as he understood the danger back on Earth. Countless coins, tools, and forgotten relics of the same alloy sat unguarded in drawers and museums. To the galaxy, such abundance would be worth entire fleets. The aliens' tone grew urgent. If the truth spread, factions would not bargain, they would invade, enslaving humanity for its resources. Yet if Daniel kept the secret, Earth held a bargaining chip greater than any weapon. For the first time, Daniel saw the weight of his species' place in the galaxy, not as wanderers or traders, but as hidden giants holding a treasure more powerful than warships. The alien leaned closer, its voice almost a whisper, and told him the choice was his: share the truth and risk destruction, or hide it and let humanity rise on its own terms. The decision pressed heavy on him, for either path would change not only his life, but the destiny of his entire world. Daniel stood inside a cold chamber at the heart of the station, surrounded by representatives from powerful factions, their eyes fixed on him with sharp hunger. Each of them had sent fleets, soldiers, and spies in search of the mysterious relic, and now they believed it rested in the hands of a single human. The air was heavy with tension. Words were sharp but controlled, every side waiting for him to make a mistake. Daniel said nothing. Instead, he reached into his pocket and slowly placed a single coin on the polished table before him. The small metallic sound echoed in the silent room, and every alien froze as if struck by lightning. Their eyes locked on the coin, and a sudden realization spread among them: if a human could hand such a treasure away to a starving stranger, then humanity must possess far more than they dared to imagine. Daniel leaned back, his face calm, though his heart pounded inside his chest. He offered no promises, no deals, no explanations. He let the silence do the work, and in that silence the factions began to see not a lone human worker, but a representative of a species that might control the future of the galaxy. The fear in their eyes was new, mixed with respect, and Daniel knew he had shifted the balance without lifting a weapon. As he walked out of the chamber, leaving the coin behind, whispers followed him like shadows. Humanity had not declared itself with armies or speeches. It had spoken with a single coin, and that was enough to make the galaxy hesitate. For the first time, Daniel understood that his people were no longer unseen newcomers. They were players, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again.